The night was still, except for the faint hum of the refrigerator in the giant marble kitchen. The house was silent, the kind of silence only the rich could afford, peace bought with distance, high walls, and space too vast to echo love. But beneath the marble counter, hidden behind a row of silver cabinets, someone was quietly eating, hurriedly, nervously, as if every bite might be stolen away. A shadow moved across the polished floor, and a deep voice spoke, steady, calm, yet cold enough to freeze blood. "Who's there?" The maid, Leela, froze. Her trembling hand still held a half-eaten sandwich, pieced together from the leftovers she'd gathered after dinner. Her eyes widened in horror when she saw him, Mr. Adrian Hale, the millionaire who owned everything in this house, everything but the warmth it once had. She stood abruptly, almost tripping over herself, crumbs falling to the floor. I'm sorry, sir," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "I didn't mean to, I was just hungry." He looked at her for a long, heavy moment. The silence stretched like a knife between them. Her face was pale, her uniform too loose. He noticed that now, though he'd never really seen her before, not like this. She'd been just another worker in his mansion, someone who appeared and disappeared quietly, leaving rooms spotless and plates gleaming. "Hungry?" he asked softly, his tone unreadable. "Why didn't you just ask?" Her eyes dropped. "It's not my place to ask, sir. The food here, it's not for people like me." That sentence hit him like a slap he didn't expect. Not for people like me. He should have been angry, most people in his position would be, but instead he felt something stir deep inside. Guilt, or maybe memory. Because once upon a time, Adrian Hale had been the boy who used to steal day-old bread from a bakery's trash just to survive. But he had buried that version of himself long ago under layers of money, pride, and power. He took a slow step closer. "How long has this been going on?" Her lips quivered. "A few weeks, sir. I send most of my pay home to my son. There's not much left for me. I eat only when I can, when there are leftovers." Adrian swallowed hard. The thought of someone starving in his own mansion, a mansion that wasted food every single day, made something inside him ache. He turned, wordless, and left the kitchen. Leela stood frozen, certain she'd be fired by morning. She wept silently, clutching her apron, whispering prayers to a God she wasn't sure still listened. But the next morning, something unexpected happened. When she entered the kitchen, she found a table set for two. There was warm soup, bread, eggs, and fruit. And across from it, Adrian Hale himself, sitting quietly with a newspaper in hand. He looked up and said simply, "Sit." She stared at him in disbelief. "Sir, I can't." "Yes, you can," he interrupted gently. "I won't eat alone today." Her eyes filled with tears as she hesitated, then slowly took a seat. He pushed a plate toward her, and for the first time in years, someone served her. As she ate, he watched, not with pity but with understanding. Every small bite reminded him of the nights he had gone hungry, the days he swore he'd never feel powerless again. But somewhere along his journey to the top, he'd lost his heart along the way. He asked softly, "You said you have a son?" "Yes, sir," she said, wiping her eyes. "He's 8. He stays with my sister in the countryside. I send money for his school. I just want him to have a better life." Something in her words broke him. He had no one. His wife had died years ago, and his wealth had become his only companion. He stared at the food on the table, then at the woman across from him, realizing how empty his life had become. That morning changed everything. From that day forward, Leela no longer hid in the kitchen. Adrian made sure she ate 3 proper meals a day, but more than that, he began talking to her, really talking. He learned that she had dreams once of becoming a nurse, of helping others, but life's hardships had stripped that away. And she, in turn, saw through his hard shell. She saw the lonely man behind the suits, the one who smiled only when pretending. Weeks turned into months. He'd often find her singing softly while cleaning, her voice bringing warmth into the cold walls of his mansion. Sometimes he'd catch himself listening from afar, wondering when his house started to feel like a home. One rainy evening, he saw her on the phone, crying quietly in the corner of the kitchen. "Is he okay?" Adrian asked, concern in his voice. Leela looked up, startled. "My son, he's sick, fever. My sister says it's bad, but I don't have enough to send him to the city hospital." Without another word, Adrian grabbed his phone. Within hours, a private car was sent to bring the boy and his aunt to the city. He personally arranged the best doctor. Leela wept uncontrollably when she found out. "Sir, I can't ever repay you for this." He smiled faintly. "Then don't, just promise me one thing: never hide again when you're hungry." Her son recovered fully thanks to Adrian's help, but what came after that no one expected. When the boy came to visit, Adrian found himself drawn to him. The child reminded him of himself, curious, brave, and hopeful despite little. They began spending time together, watching movies, building puzzles, even gardening in the backyard. Slowly, laughter returned to the mansion. And for the first time in years, Adrian didn't feel like a millionaire, he felt like family. Months later, he surprised Leela with something she never imagined. He handed her a folder. Inside was a letter of admission to a nursing program, fully funded. Her hands trembled. "Sir, I can't accept this." "Yes, you can," he said softly, "because you once said you wanted to help others. I'm just giving you back what life took away." Tears streamed down her cheeks. She fell to her knees, but he gently lifted her up. "You helped me remember who I was, Leela," he said quietly. "Before the money, before the walls, you gave me back something priceless." Years passed. Leela became a nurse, her son grew strong, and Adrian Hale, once known as the ruthless millionaire, became a quiet philanthropist, funding schools and shelters for those who had nothing. Every year he visited her hospital, never as her boss but as her friend. And whenever he saw her son running down the hallway calling, "Uncle Adrian," he smiled, feeling whole again. Because sometimes the richest hearts are found in the poorest moments.